and planning. Okay, so what in order to elaborate much about ERP, right? Enterprise resource planning is the name when we say it is an ERP. Now, what is an enterprise? Right? Enterprise is nothing but an organization or a company. Okay, what is resources? So resources are like, what is the resource for an organization? Resource for an organization are people who are working for the company, like you and me. All right.
Mm-hmm.
P stands for planning. So enterprise resource planning is how do you plan your resources in order to make an enterprise run or a company run to make it into the profitable states is the actual definition of an ERP. So, in order to make the resources plan and work for an organization, there may be different set of things. If you take a manufacturing, they have a plan. How do they manufacture the products, and they put into the um, plan and make the business work. In the similar way, when it comes to software industry, right? When it comes to a consulting firm, or whenever it comes to a technological firm, they plan the resources using certain tools in order to make the enterprise run in good profit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in similar way, SAP is one of the ERP product. Why we called it as an ERP? Okay. Now, first thing first is people talk much about ERP, and ERP. So, enterprise resource planning tools, in order to make this work in any business, right? Certain people has designed some tools like Oracle, Java, .NET, SAP, PHP, right? So on and so forth. So to any tools which are used for larger industries, we use certain tools called as an ERP tools. Okay, is that clear? So if it is small tools, we don't specify in the naming convention of an ERP tools. We call it as a normal tools. Any tools which were designed to run a business of a larger market, okay, for a manufacturing industry, for a consumer retail product industry, for a TNM, telecom media and sector industry. When you talk certain language in terms of a business which talks more about the business, like telecom media sector, or C&IP, consumer and product sector, or retail sector, then we implement certain tools, right? Then those tools cannot be handled by a normal designed softwares. It needs to be handled by a ERP software. Now, what are the different ERP softwares we have in the market is, we have Oracle, right? We have SAP, we have PHP, right? We have so on and so forth. So there are many tools, right? So I will not talk much about R3 system because now this is a very back. Now we have R4 system in the market. But do you know about the R3 system?
R3 means
Because
three-tier architecture, like
three-tier architecture. What is this three-tier architecture?
database, application layer, and the GUI.
What was the earlier layer?
It was two-tier architecture, database
So
and the
why? What was the one tier, two tier, and three tier? Quickly,
like
one, two, three.
three layers were there. Like in three RY3, it was having database where the data is only stored, and application where the logics were made,
Are stored. Right, right.
and
At the initial system, right now
GUI
R4
where
system
the
is
user
an,
give the
yes,
queries. I need this data. So the application goes
right,
and it extract data from the database and it process and then it give to the user in the GUI.
uh, right. What is absolutely right. Now I don't want to talk much on the R3 systems because you know it as well, right?
Mhm.
So
What is R4?
there is R4 is SAP S4 HANA systems.
Okay.
Okay, we will talk much on this. I'll prepare a slide. I anyways need to prepare a slide for the other trainers. right? So I will just do that and I'll get back to you on this. So R4 system is S4 HANA system. So S4 HANA is something like now all the datas are stored in columnar databases. There is no more row level data of storing.
And HANA, yes,
Okay, the data in HANA database,
column.
all the data would be stored in a columnar database. Okay, so that it can take up to huge database whatever it wanted. Okay, so till R3, what is the new advantages of R4 system is till R3, for example, if you take finance into consideration, right? So finance into consideration. So billing documents, it used to stored in one of the header table. Billing document issue table is stored in one more table. A billing document process is stored in one more table. Billing document item is stored in one more table. So when we have to write a query, combining all these things, we have to hit first table, second table, third table, fourth table, fifth table. So we are making a database kernel memory too huge. So SAP has come up with the columnar databases. Now all these three child databases, I'm just giving you a very small example. So all these three child databases are clubbed into the single header database. So the select query of writing for four databases has been reduced to the single select query. But picking and processing the data is bit different. Okay. So what it is useful is now your kernel memory is getting saved and the database hitting is only on the single select query. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give you more insights of S4 HANA, S4 HANA or SAP R4 architecture in couple of days because we have to quickly get into the basic topics, and in meantime I will prepare it and tell you one day. Okay.
Okay.
Now, what is SAP methodology? Do you have an idea of this, or do you want to dig into more?
No, I don't have a idea. Maybe I may be knowing, but I don't know whether that is
All right.
SAP. Can
All
you please
right.
tell?
Now, one as an SAP consultant, whether it's a technical, functional, or a basis consultant, who should understand about SAP methodology. We have something called as a SAP methodology in right now. Okay. Now I'm just processing these slides. So ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. There are many solutions such as Oracle, PeopleSoft, SAP, JD, Edwards, etc. are the ERP solutions. Why do we use ERP solutions? There is consistency of a data and there is no duplication, which means no duplication in not in terms of a records or a data, no duplication in terms of a process. So the process or the programming flow which is written for finance will be not duplicated in sales, right? So everything is consistent and there is no duplication in processing of the particular design flow in the ERP system. So as an SAP consultants, we are not saying that it is the best ERP solution for business. SAP is one of the best ERP solution for the business. And now the question which I asked you earlier is why people should use SAP. This is what every consultant should know, or every person who's trying to learn SAP or who wants to strive his market on the SAP should know why people should use an ERP solution. Now, assume after 5 years you're leading a company, right, where you're in the managing positions, right? You are placed in a position to get certain projects to your company, right? Then you have to sell the project and say that boss, for your requirement, you should be in a position to give them a better solution, whether they have to go for an ERP or an Oracle or JD Adverse, PeopleSoft, etc. So, if you have to give a solution, you have to understand when the particular customer or the client should go to which technology. Okay, that you will be in a position to tell when you know completely about it. I till date, I will say that Oracle is one of the finest ERP solution. But when and where, I'll tell you. And I will even say that SAP is one of the best ERP solution. But when and where, I'll tell you right now. Okay, so
Mhm.
PeopleSoft, JD Edwards are a small ERP solutions. Okay, whereas Oracle, SAP are used for big
Big
solutions
companies,
in the market, big companies in the market. We will not say big companies, big business
big business
processes.
process.
Okay, right now. I still till day, even being an SAP consultant, I will say that Oracle is one of the finest ERP solutions where there is a business sector where there is only finance taken into the consideration. When there is only finance taken into the consideration and they do not have any other business processes in their business, right? Now banking sectors, right? Banking sectors have only finance into main consideration, rest of them is nominal, right? So
Mhm.
banking sectors, they if you put a bank, if any banking sector approaches you, I don't suggest them to go with SAP. I suggest them to go with Oracle, because it Oracle has provides you a very best solution when finance comes into the consideration. Okay, SAP also
Mhm.
provides, but it is costly for for that one particular module to be implemented. So we don't suggest SAP when they only have finance into the market into consideration. So Oracle is the best solutions for finance related businesses. Okay, so you understood, right? When is Oracle being, when we have to suggest Oracle, right?
So
When,
for my knowledge,
when the,
Oracle is only running for the finance, like in
yes,
SAP.
I say that for the finance, the solution which they provided, the software which they have, it has a very good hold,
For
right?
finance.
Now, if you fire finance, now if you go to the banking sector, most of the databases which are there are Oracle databases only as on day. Now go to ICICI Bank or go to Axis Bank, or I don't know about the US banks, right? Bank of America, not Bank of America. There was one bank here, Swiss, not Swiss Bank, RBS, Royal Bank of Scotland. It still uses its Oracle database services at their backend, and it even uses the Oracle software for the further processings. Okay,
Mhm.
so the solution, the software which they provided is for finance is very stable, and once they start using it, they don't find any issues, and it is cost friendly. So I as a client or you as a client, whenever we wanted to choose, we will choose budget oriented and we will choose according to our budget. That is the strategy that is played by any client. Now, you as a consulting, when entering into the market, you have to suggest them which is best and which is not best, right? You may get more money when they implement SAP into the banking sectors. Yes, SAP also provides good, stable solutions for banking as well. But if you suggest them SAP, you will be profited as a consultant. But what is the use if you suggest SAP when there is only finance into consideration? So now the question comes is, why SAP is costly? Because SAP is the costliest ERP tool in the market. You first remember this. SAP is the very costliest ERP tool in the market. One license costs you somewhere around 50 to 60 lakhs. Okay, for everything getting implemented and using that license for an year, and then every year renewal is renovation will take place. So whenever there is an accounting, they ask us to provide all the licenses which are being used on the SAP. They will charge based upon the license that you are using. You can just Google. This is all the rough end work. You can do it whenever you find certain time. So you remember this, SAP is one of the costliest ERP solution, and it is also a best ERP solution which is running across the globe till now. Now now why I will say that SAP is one of the best ERP solution, which is being a top solution. SAP is the first, second is Oracle on till day. Now, but the question arises is, when do we have to use SAP, right? When
Mhm.
do we have to use SAP? Okay, or when you have to suggest using SAP. Now, take any manufacturing industry, okay, right?
Mhm.
Okay, let us take a car manufacturing industry. Let us talk about Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes-Benz is one of the car manufacturing industry which is using SAP, right?
Mhm.
Jaguar, not Jaguar. Tell me any big other things, Mercedes-Benz, uh,
Other company, Honda.
the company, not Honda, right? Honda. Third one is like we have that. What is that? I'm not getting. So all of the manufacturing sectors are using SAP. Out of 100%, all of the big chains in the market are using SAP as their ERP tool to run their business. Now the question arises is, why can't they use Oracle? Why is they using SAP? Right? So now if any person asks you what is SAP and why we have to use SAP, right? We have to tell this answer. Okay. Before I tell you the answer, let us get into the business first. Okay. Today I'll talk about completely this, so you'll be a better picture and there is no confusion and rest of the time in at any time. Okay. Now, if you take a manufacturing industry, can you tell me what are the difference when you take a company? What are all the different sections you may have in a company?
In a company, there will be sales, HR,
Right,
logistics,
right.
finance, sales and distribution will be there. Factory will be there. That means logistics, stock, and
Right. So based upon this diagram, right?
customer
So
relationship management. Yeah.
right. So any company, whether you go for C&IP, consumer retail and products, or you go only for retail industry, or you only go for manufacturing industry, or you only go for telecom media and sector industry, any company will definitely have one section in it. Definitely is finance, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, money transactions should flow. So there exists a section called as a finance, where you have accounting, where you have accounting people put in into place. Now, typically, if we talk about a manufacturing industry, right? Manufacturer, if he manufactures the products that is not enough, he has to do sales, right? He
Mm-hmm.
has to do sales. So for manufacturing, he cannot just manufacture. He has to purchase the material, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if he has to purchase the material, from where he will be doing a purchase, he will be doing from a third party resources. For example, in order to make a car, he needs to have certain raw materials. So the raw materials he cannot prepare it. He will do a final product called as a finished good. All the semi-finished goods or raw material, he has to get it from a third party, right? So the
Yeah.
third party, we call them as a vendors for that particular customer, for that particular customer. So assume that you are a Mercedes Benz and you are trying to create a car, right? You are trying to produce a car, right? Then you need certain raw materials. So you want like spare parts, or you want some raw materials like something or the other, right? You need certain raw materials. So I am a vendor who supplies that raw materials. Then I will be a customer to you, right? Because you are taking raw materials to me, from me, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I am being called as a vendor to you. You will call me as a vendor, external vendor, where you buy all the third party raw materials and you get those materials and you start processing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once you process, when you get the material, right, you have to store it in a warehouse. You have to store it in a warehouse, right? Once you store it in a warehouse, then you have to get the materials to a production line, right? Have you ever been to any manufacturing industry factory in your life? Did you ever see how the process flows?
Yeah, they will be purchasing the raw materials and once.
No, no, no. Did you check this production lines?
No.
Oh, no. Okay. So we were talking much about business, right? Now let us come back to SAP again. Now, when we have to suggest SAP is when typically when you take a manufacturing industry, you have these many sections in it, right? So these many sections handled by so many people, right? So if you talk about SAP, right? Name any section in a company, you have a module in SAP. For example, they say that, boss, we have large sales happening to our company. You have SAP S&D, sales and distribution module, which is a predefined solution to where you can install, just plug in the software and start creating a sales orders for you. And if he says, boss, we have vendors, we have so many vendors where we get materials, we get raw materials, or we get spare parts from them. Okay, no issues. We have vendor management in SAP, right? So name any particular section in a business, you have a module already given by SAP, and all these modules are integrated in a single ERP system.
Okay.
Okay. Now, now the client may ask, why do I wanted to go with SAP? Why can't any other object? Why can't I use Oracle system as my database, and I will use some JD Edwards for my sales, and for vendor management I will use PeopleSoft where it is a costly friendly for me, right?
Mhm.
Then you have to say, no, boss, for Oracle database, okay, you are using it for finance, for PeopleSoft, you are using it for sales, for vendor management, you are using it for JD Edwards. The first thing first is you have to integrate these three ERP solutions, JD Edwards, PeopleSoft, Oracles, and you have to provide an integration plate between these three solutions that will almost give you the cost of an SAP cost. Right? Getting this softwares is not a big task. You have to integrate them, right? You have to integrate them. That integration will again take time and cost effective in the system. So it will almost be nearly similar to this cost, wherein which you are getting only these three modules like sales and vendor, right? You may even have HR payrolls, you may have customer relationship management, you may have like logistics, you may have whatnot, you may
Business
have
warehouse.
anything in the company, right? Warehouse management, right? You may have production planning, PP management, right? For everything and anything, you have already a predefined solution with certain amount. Don't look for the amount, go with the solution, and everything is integrated in a single server, in a single system. That is why all the big gains in the market, like manufacturing, they do not want to rush with other softwares. They people from SAP, people from Deloitte, people from Accenture, or people from different consulting firms go there, enlighten them what why they have to use SAP. Then people will think that me as a customer or you or me as a customer will think that okay, my current business flow is running all these sections. If it is even costly friendly, let me go with SAP because all my data is integrated. Now sales will know when if what is the use of an integration. If anyone asks you, okay, you're saying that it is an integration, that is why we are going to SAP. What is the use of SAP, right? What is the use of integration? Now, whether the material, raw material is been given and it has been put it in the inventory management, if it is using by the different tools, I will not be that quick enough to understand whether the material has come from the third party and stored in the inventory management. But if the same information need to be known by the sales guy using different tools, this will be a tedious process and it takes many time. Now, if it is an SAP integrated, right, sales can directly hit a query. and know whether the stock has come from the vendor and has put into inventory management in the fraction of second so that he can create his sales order, right? There is no in the world, right? Everyone will appreciate you when the response from the system is quick enough, right? If the response, see, if you want to buy something, you have order place something on the Amazon or bestbuy.com, right? And it is taking much time for going into the merchandise bank and allowing you to go to get the bank details. It is rotating for more than 5 minutes. You will get irritated. So anything the response is quick, fast and fast, through and fro is fast, right? Response is fast, then you will be very satisfied as a customer. So in the similar way, if they use response, the receiving and the response time from any section, any department to another department in an organization through an ERP solution, if there is a response and the receive time is fast for whatever he's trying to ask, he will be very happy and the business will run smoothly. That is the reason all the big gains, like all the big markets all the big markets which are using SAP as on date. All the finance sectors individually are using Oracle softwares because SAP only not suggest to go with SAP if it is only a banking sector. Rest of any other sectors, they are expecting to go with the what you call as a SAP. So hope you are clear why we are using SAP at least as of
Yeah,
now.
because yes,
Okay.
clear. Yeah,
All right. So if anyone asks you why you are an SAP consultant and what is the greatness of an SAP, you have to tell them.
yeah, because
Okay.
SAP can be used in a multiple. It is a it is a single tool which is having lot of different applications.
Modules integrated in it.
Yeah,
Okay.
integrated in it.
No, this is all I don't know. Now let us go back to the SAP methodology. Now, assume that you as a Mercedes-Benz company, I came to have given my SAP slides, presentations and everything, and you are satisfied with my slides, and you say that, okay, boss, I wanted to implement SAP, now come and implement SAP. You may hearing this term, implementation project, support projects, rollout projects, right? Have you heard about this
Yes, yes,
terminologies? Right. Now you as a company, you said me that boss, I'm satisfied with the SAP ERP tool. Now come and implement the project. So when they say this, right, consulting firms will not go directly and install the software. It is not a software tool where you go install and come back. Okay, that is not the way, because SAP has a solution for everything, but we have to install the softwares or install the modules into their systems according to their business. Okay, I'll tell you one small example. Now, there is a company called as a Mercedes Benz. Assume that they take the payments after the delivery, or they move the shipments after certain process. Whereas there is company called as a Honda, first they will have the payment and delivery it. So what I'm trying to tell you is different business has a different process. Let us forget about SAP. So different एक business रहेगा. For every business there will be a different process assigned to it, business processes assigned to it. Do you agree with me or not?
yes.
One company runs through one flow and the other company runs to other flow,
Yeah,
right? If
obviously.
every company runs through one flow, then there is no point who is first and who is, they have different strategies, right?
Yes, I
So
found.
when we install SAP, we have to install SAP modules or integrate SAP modules into their business so that we have to understand their business and run smoothly. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so once the SLAs have been done, once the assignment has been fixed, right? Now we talk something about SAP methodology. Okay, we basically have 5 different phases in SAP methodology. So project preparation phase, business blueprint phase, third phase we call it as a realization phase, fourth phase we call it the final preparation phase, fifth phase we call it as a go live and support phase. Now what is this phases, right?
Mm-hmm.
So project preparation phase. So what happens is people main people from the consulting, like Deloitte or Accenture or X and Y and Z consulting, and the main people from the client, from the Mercedes Benz director, CEO, CFOs, or whoever leading the business, who are leading the HR, who are leading, all people have a meeting and they prepare the project. They try to sign the agreement and they try to prepare the project. Prepare the project not in terms of a technology or software, or they will try to understand the business at the project preparation. So these people from the consulting heads and these people from the consulting heads sit together, try to understand, they prepare the project and say that, okay, in order to implement the SAP, these are the steps we have to follow. First, we have to take care of finance. Next, important for us is the sales, and then comes the HR, then comes the vendor, then comes the production planning. They design the process flow for it. So all these things will be done at the project preparation phase. At the project preparation phase, once this is done, the project preparation phase and the SAP delivery manager, whoever it is, will have the will have all the project documents. SAP delivery manager come back to the SAP team, to the managers, to the consultants, to the senior consultants, whoever sitting together. They will design a business blueprint. They will design a business blueprint. Blueprint is nothing but a prototype in the SAP system. So they will understand the business, they will design a business blueprint and everything, and they show back to the client. They show back to the client. If the client is satisfied, then start the realization phase. So at these two phases, you will see most of the functional folks talking to the business, talking to everything. Now, once they are ready with the prototype, we as an ABAP consultants comes into the picture at the realization phase. We as a BW consultants comes into the picture as a in the realization phase, right? Till the business blueprint phase, the technical consultants will not come into the picture. Yes, technical consultant, not every technical consultant like programmer will not come into the picture, but the top level technical consultant, the ABAP lead in the project, or ABAP main lead in the project will also involve in the business blueprint phase, because they have to give a solution whether the solution which they are trying to achieve it in SAP will work or not. I don't say that no ABAP consultant will be there in the blueprint phase. Yes, there will be there, but not all the ABAP consultant, only the lead role, only the manager, only the technical team manager or the project development team manager will be involved in the business blueprint phase. Once it is successful at the realization phase, all the ABAPers, all the functional people come into the picture. Now what they do is, realization phase is the phase where, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
are you asking me something? I did not get.
No, no, no.
Okay. In the realization phase, the above technical consultants and the functional consultant comes into the picture. They will understand the business. They will start writing the logics.
Mm-hmm.
They will start writing the logics for reports, module pools, according to the business, whatever they wanted, they will design it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Final preparation. What is this final preparation? Once they have developed it, they have to move their object to the quality systems. Right? We have three systems: development system, quality system, and production system in SAP, right? So
Yes.
whatever the is done in the development system, work will be done at the realization phase, and they will be doing a unit testing in the development system. Once it is done, they put a date and they move all their object to the final preparation. The final preparation is they do a tremendous testing here. This quality box is nothing but a replicate of your production box. So people, every time any consultant will get tense when it is moving to the final preparation, because we get a hell lot of issues here. I say that for any object we get hell lot of issues. Not being we did not test it properly. When it goes to a different environment, different box, we get to a scenarios of, we get very different scenarios. We write code for 5 scenarios, we may encounter 3 other scenarios which are new. So it will come back to the realization phase again, and we have to fix that, and we have to send it back, and it will be stable. So final preparation system is where we are sending every data to our quality system, wherein which a thorough testing is done by both functional and the technical consultants. So once the system is stable, we just put a go live date and we just copy the quality database to your production database, and a date is given. From there, it is a continuous improvement process, and from there every users in the client side will start using the SAP. So all this process we call it as a SAP methodology.
Okay.
Are you clear on this?
Yes.
So if it is an implementation project, we give a so if you are implementing it for the very first time, we call it as an implementation project. Some other people have implemented and the company needs a support as a consulting firm. You go and you support the already existing implemented project. We call it as a support project.
What
Rollouts is
exactly will be
nothing but
done in support?
support is like they give a continuous support. So already an SAP is implemented in Mercedes Benz. They thought of going with Deloitte for the first 2 years for the implementation. After implementation, due to cost issues or budget issue, they went to TCS, right? They went to some other company. TCS not only do support project, they also implement. That is a different case. So they do go to a Y company, they give a support. In the support projects, what they do, they will make sure the system is stable every time. If they need any new requirements, they will do it. Or if they have to enhance the existing requirement, the support projects needs to do it to make the system stable. And whereas in implementation phase, we don't know whether system will be stable or not stable, whether the project will be successful, not successful, right? That is all. Implementation projects are every time a hectic projects, and it is a continuous tedious job. We have to work rigorously. And I don't say that support projects we will not work. It will have same number of issues and concerns. But only thing is support project the system is already stable, right? I mean the SAP is already implemented. We can figure it out any solution from it. Whereas in implementation projects, we don't know until and unless go live whether the project is successful or not. Right now, the other project is the other projects engagements which we talk about are the rollout project. What is this rollout? Now, assume that Mercedes-Benz is first implemented SAP in America. They have the basic similar process. They wanted to set up one more company in India, right? So the business process is same, but across the location they want to roll out the same software or the same ERP solution. Then we do a rollout implementation. So same business process, we set up a system here, we copy it. It is almost like an implementation, but a rollout or an upgrade. What is an upgrade process? Any upgradation done on the main system or the main country, like USA, we will do a upgrade to other countries as well. So we club them and call them as a rollout or upgradation projects. So only these three kind of
Upgrade means
projects
like
are there.
changing the version, isn't it? Like moving
Changing
from
the
changing the version, like moving from
not only the version, any new updates. If you want to, if the business process for the first 3 years is one way, and the fourth year they change the business strategies and they wanted to change their business, right? Then we do not implement the SAP. So they change the business. We will tweak our SAP, make sure that it is upgraded to the new version. Now the new business process again it has to be rolled out across the locations. It is not only for the version part. So any change in the business, we are talking in a very high level.
Okay.
Okay. So this is all about the SAP methodology. Okay. That it is it all about on the SAP. So hope this is helping you to understand today what is SAP, when to use SAP. Are you clear on it? Yes or no? I did not get an yes or no. Okay. Okay. Now, yeah. Let us go to the dictionary. SC11 is a transaction code where we talk about the data dictionary objects. Okay. We will be working on data dictionary objects.
Okay.
What was that? MOHIT
2018.
Okay, this is not your client system, right? Then
No, this
I
is
thought it was a private system. Then where is that you're showing it to your senior?
in the this
Then
practice
if
server
you
only I'm showing.
then if you start working, if you've been put onto project, I guess you will not be able to share me those systems, right?
No, then I need to share my screen only.
Yeah, that is the only option left over. Okay, fine. Let us talk all those things later once you start work. So SE11 is a transaction code where we use for
Directly.
creating any data dictionary objects, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let us understand everything one by one. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
we have 7 different types of objects in the data dictionary. The first is data table, views, data types, type groups, domains, search helps, and lock objects. We can create any of the data dictionary objects from here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Today we will talk about database table. Okay. So in SAP, we we have two things: standard tables and custom tables, or standard programs or custom program, standard design or custom design, right? Anything, or this is a very normal thing, but just wanted anything which is starting with Y or Z, alphabet Z, right?
Yes.
We do not call that as a Z, we call it as a Z. German call it as anything which starts with Y or Z, right? uh, we call them as a
Custom
custom
table.
programs or custom tables or custom enhancements or whatsoever. Anything apart from these two variables which you see in SAP are all standard. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
database table. Now this is a material master database table. Now first let us go and give table called as an MA array and click on display. Why the system is getting stuck? I guess I lost my connection, man.
Can relog in.
What's the time there?
Over here, 11:45. Sorry, 11:30 or something. 11:35.
Fine. Okay, today evening at what time you are available? 3:30, 4:30?
Your timing?
Your timing. I mean, are you available? Will you able to wake up at 6:30 or 7:30?
No,
I want to
I
take
can
one more session
I
today.
can available like uh, my 5:30. I can available.
3 p.m.
Yeah,
Not on 6:30.
because 6:30 it won't be
Hold on,
much.
let me check my calendar today. If I have any meeting, I have a meeting, recurrence meeting at 3 p.m. If it is not there, I'll take around 5:30 a.m. Are you okay to take a class at 5:30?
Yeah, yeah. Because
One
tomorrow morning
second.
I'm having a
My
meeting.
today is Thursday, right? I have at 3 p.m. man. So 3 p.m. my time is 5:30. Can we take it at 4?
Like four means my 6:30.
Yeah,
No,
for
because
1 hour.
because tomorrow I am having meeting. Assessment
At what time?
training is going on.
At what time?
At like it will start at in my time 8 o'clock. So it will be like 5:30 India time 5:30. It will be done from India only. So it will be from 5:30 Indian time.
Okay.
For that I need to leave my home like 7:30.
Okay. Okay. Then we will have a overview glance today and take the from day after to tomorrow. You are available for both the timings, right?
Both the timings, yes.
Morning and evening.
Uh-huh.
Then only we can cover the concepts, Vikram, or else it will be going long and long.
Yeah, I understand. The only thing is that other day, like if you can manage in the morning, like in your morning, little bit early, then also that will be good.
I'm waking up at 8 a.m. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's the thing that I'm saying, that if we can manage like 7, then 7 to 9, we can do it in that way.
Then no need of evening session. That is what you're trying. Or
Yeah, something like
no,
that.
we have. Oh, let us see. I cannot commit because if I don't wake up, I am wasting your time again.
Hmm.
Ah, okay. Just let us go for a 1 week flow. Okay, for 8 a.m. Then we will see at next thing from 7:30 again. At least on weekends, I'll try to make sure that 7:30 so that we can continue till 11:30, 9:30, 10:30, and 11:30. 2 hours, yeah. Instead of covering 1 hour here and 1 hour here. All right, we can just take it up for 2 hours a day for 7:30. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll give you a general overview of how a table looks. So we as an SAP ABAP consultants, whenever all the functional consultants to open a database table, they use a transaction code called as an SA16N. Okay, because they have wide variety of options here to open the table. They will know what is the text, if any text table associated to it, what is the text table associated to it here itself, they will be knowing it. And they will be having all the details in terms of the naming classes. They can select all the fields or multiple fields here. They have wide variety of options, right? And also we can open database table in one more SC16. SC16 is other way of opening the table where we have certain options less when compared to SC16N, and the other way of opening the table is SC11. We as a technical consultants open the table in SC11 because we have to know what is each field and what is its length type, what is it range and everything, wherein which this information is not required for the functional folks, right? When we create a field in the database table, we have to know what is it field. It is a dash field, which means it is a date field. So what is the length of the field? Does it have any decimal characters, or this particular field is assigned to any search help or any other help or not? Is it is a currency field or the quantity field? We have to understand everything and each and everything. That's the reason whenever an SAP opens the table, he will be opening it in an SE11 so that he will be knowing each and every field completely. Okay. For any of the table, a key field is a mandatory apart from a main DT field.
What is this
What is an
initial
MA?
one?
I will tell you. Sorry.
What is this initial key and the initial?
Right. I will tell you because we need to have a detailed discussion on this. Okay, I will tell you clearly on the evening session or maybe in tomorrow's session. So today I'll give you a complete overview what are the different sections elements available in the database table. Tomorrow we will try create a custom table, and then I will tell you what is the key, what is the initial value, and what are the different other options available here. Okay, so we have 5 different tabs here. On the fields tab we create all the fields, or if you want to view the fields you have to click on the view fields. So every table should be a client dependent field. So in order to make it as a client dependent, we have to give the first field as a main DT field. Do you know about this client field? No?
No.
Yes?
No.
Okay, I will even tell you this. So client field, we have two things, client dependent and client independent. If you want to make this table as a client independent, we don't give this as a main DT field. But if you want to make this as a client dependent, we give it as a MANDT field. MANDT is a client field which is a mandatory field. What is client dependent? This table should be used across different systems, from one server to another server, from one development box to quality box, from quality box to production box. If you want to use the same table across the 3 different boxes, then you have to make them as a client dependent field. So then your first field in the table should be an MANDT field. And if the table, if you are using it for a testing purpose and you don't want to move this table from one server to another server, then no need of creating the main DT field. In generally, all the tables which you create in a project will never be a client dependent independent table. It will every time be a client dependent table only. So the first field that you create on the database should be a field called as an main DT field. Now, whenever you create a table, there should exist definitely a one key field in the database table. If you do not provide any key field, you will be not able to save the data. On the other day, you were also seeing that we have seen it live. We did not put any key field, and we were not able to insert any record into the database. Did you remember that?
Yeah, yeah, employee one.
Employee one. So we have to at least give one key field. Okay, we have to at least give one key field, and it should have a initial values. We will discussing more about this on details. Now, what are the other sections in the tables? So we have something called as a technical settings. So what is this technical settings?
Technical setting will be defining about the buffer and what will be the size of the table, of how many record you want to
Right.
save.
So
Right.
whenever we have three different types of data: transaction data,
Master data,
master data. What is a transaction data?
transaction data,
What is a master?
which frequently changes.
Which transaction data?
Those data which are changing frequently.
For example,
For example, your
sales
employee
orders we created
employee
daily,
salary.
right? No, employee salary, not sales order in a
Yeah,
company.
sales
They
order.
create sales orders. So sales order data is a frequent transaction data, whereas sales order customers, their address is not a
Not
frequently changing, right?
yes.
So we have to decide what is it, whether it we have wanted to create a master data or we wanted to create a transaction data, and what is the size category and everything. What is this buffering not allowed, allowed, and buffering activated? Do you know
Buffering
about
means
this?
yeah, buffering means like in the table the record will be saved in the application layer when we are selecting
Right,
buffering activated
right,
or allowed.
right. Now, if you see this, this is the new feature which is added in S4 HANA. So whether you wanted to be a columnar store or whether you wanted to row store or you don't want to define it as of now, right? Earlier, we never had this option of DB specific property. What is this columnar storage? Columnar storage is it will be storing in the column wise data. Row storage is a regular way in SAP R3 system which was using earlier. It should be adding the rows in a horizontal way. Columnar it is in a vertical way. We will talk more about this later again. So now every standard tables which are trying to create will be in a columnar store, but not in a. But user has given an option whether if you still wanted to store the data in a row store or not, and you are not sure, you can put it as an undefined, but you can create your table. Okay, and this is a new option which has been given. So we will talk much more thing about technical details and everything tomorrow once I create a custom table. Tomorrow once I create a custom table and I show you everything on it. We have one more option called as an indexes. Okay, we have something called as a secondary indexes in SAP ABAP. So assume that this is the standard table and you have a key field called as a material number, wherein which you wanted to have one more key field and do a validation. You cannot edit this table and put a validate. So in order to achieve this functionality, you use certain things called as an indexes, where you create your secondary indexes and you use those secondary indexes in your reporting program to filter the records based upon it. To filter the records based upon it. Now, what is this append structure? Right? We have two things in SAP. In order to add a
New
uh,
field.
can in order to add a new field on the table,
Table.
right? We use which table? If you want to add a new field on the standard table, is it possible?
Yes.
Yes, it is possible. How do you add it? Using a append structure.
Append.
Here you create a append structure and you give your append structure name. Inside the append structure name, once you give your new
Get
append
get
structure
append.
name,
Yes.
right? Underscore is not permitted. So your new structure will be open. You will be adding all your fields, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you will be adding something called as a EMP type. Uh,
JDMP.
not is there the DMP is already there?
PL.
No, it is not there.
PL.
Component ID. Let us put it as a dash field. It is a length field. I will activate this, so it will take some time. Let it be, but this structure will get activated, and you can see it in your
Stated table.
database table. So tomorrow session we will start creating a custom table. I will explain you what is the primary key, what is that key, what is that initial value, what when do we use it as a foreign key and everything. Let us take an example thoroughly tomorrow and quickly get into it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So tomorrow session I'll complete the data dictionary and move on to the second radio button on the C11. Okay. Tomorrow the agenda would be like I'll completing this data dictionary completely with all and every options in it, and then we will go to the second radio button and understand what is a view. Okay.
Okay. So tomorrow only we will deal with the data dictionary. The table.
No, for tomorrow, no, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, we will go bit slow pace till the data dictionary concepts are completed. Vikram. Reason being, this is the core thing in ABAP. You have to understand the data dictionary objects, everything very thoroughly.
Okay.
Then only you can start reporting or doing whatever it is. Model pool is a different way, right? Or reporting is a different way where you have to know how to write the logics. Before you have to know write the logic, you have to have a strong hold on the data dictionary objects, because we use such as we use views, we use data dictionary objects, we use locking mechanisms. Okay, we use domains. We have to know everything. So this will take a lot of time. Let this get activated. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
we are going to close this session for today. For next 3 days or 4 days, I will go a bit slow and complete the data dictionary objects.
Okay.
Okay. Once that is done, then we will increase the pace and we will start on different other things as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So tomorrow we will be completing the data dictionary object, like creating of data dictionary and what is views and what are different types of views. Okay. We
Mm-hmm.
will complete this. So you are not available today at 4 p.m., right?
4 p.m.
Oh.
is 6:30. 6:30. So you'll be taking for 1 hour class?
Yeah, 1 hour class तो लेना मुझे 4 तक तो I have 1 second. Today is Thursday, right? 3 to 3:30. I don't have my calendar filled here till 7:30 again, so I can take the class.
Okay.
But you're saying that you're having assessment, not an issue. At least you take rest for today. Tomorrow we will have a